but two of us here today. We have a few things to say. My name is Michael Cruz. I own a small business in Middleton called CCL Management. I provide housing to people in the Madison marketplace. I have fiduciary responsibility to almost 400 clients, including some that work in the Scott Walker administration. Last week, about a week ago today, I came to this state capitol dressed in my small businessman outfit, which was a polo shirt and a baseball cap, because I was here for a Chris Taylor news conference on people in, money out of politics. I was here at 10:30 in the Assembly Chamber, met with some of the people afterwards, set up guests, thought I had a good show to do on the radio that evening with my partner Dominic. Came down to the Capitol Rotunda, awaiting my luncheon companion, and saw that there was a good group of maybe 50 to 60 people. And I did a rough head count, and I realized they were above the 20 threshold. What I did not expect was the reaction from the State Capitol Police that day. I certainly didn't wake up that morning thinking people were going to be forcibly hauled out of the Capitol Rotunda for expressing their free speech rights here in the state capitol. Somewhere during the course of that protest, approximately 12:20 according to my citation, I stopped being a protester, or excuse me, a quote-unquote media person, a reporter, and I saw Miss Kimball, the octogenarian, who was the last one standing. There were maybe two people left in this rotunda singing when Sergeant David Davis came out here and made his announcement that you will be arrested. And it was a little too much for me. And somewhere my emotions got the better of me, and I stopped being a non-biased standing beside media person, and I joined those elderly ladies, and I got arrested. As the bigger guy, I got arrested first. I am certainly not Martin Luther King Jr. here. I'm a businessman who's probably been significantly affected by my arrest last week. My clients, especially those in the Walker administration, don't like the optic when they see their fiduciary agent in the paper. So, first of all, I've retained legal counsel, Jeff Scott Olson, attorney of the Jeff Scott Olson law firm. I will be entering a not guilty plea regarding the no permit citation I was issued. As I certainly did not conduct the sing-along, I do not believe there is any way, according to the current reading of the statute, that I could be perceived as not in compliance with state law. We'll see what Jeff has to say after our court. I will see if it's worth pursuing civil legal damages against the Wisconsin DOA and the state capitol police force because I feel like I've been harmed as a businessman simply by being arrested. And there are a lot of people here that look like me that day. I wasn't wearing a suit that day. And we figured out the very next day, if you wear a suit, it's very hard to get arrested at the Capitol Rotunda. They don't like that optic either. They only want to arrest the same people over and over again because they can make them look bad, they can ridicule them, and quite frankly, they can create a financial hurdle to expressing one's free speech rights. So, as a small token, I am fortunate in that I am not dissuaded by a $200 ticket. I am fortunate enough that that is not a determinant factor. It is a little dissuasive to have to explain to my children why Daddy got arrested for singing in the state capitol, why Daddy was handcuffed, and why he's on the news tonight. That's a little harder to reconcile. But I want to say this. Certainly my actions are not heroic. The heroic people are a lot of the people standing here today who have been doing this for 2 years, who maybe do not have the financial resources that I have. So as a small token of my good fortune, I'd like to make a donation to the Solidarity Sing-Along in the amount of $500. I'm certainly not a rich man, but it is a small token and within my ability to give, and I will do so now. I understand you know how to get this money to the right people.
I'm the treasurer, I'll take it.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Having said all that, My dining companion that day, who was fashionably late, showed up at the state capitol, and this is all verifiable through third-party footage, sent me a text at 12:44, I'm walking up. Unfortunately, I was still in custody and was not able to respond to his text. We literally met at the top of the stairs here at about 12:46. I explained I had been arrested. I'm still carrying my world's possessions in a plastic Ziploc bag. We walked here to the center of the rotunda. We were joined by Craig from Chris Taylor's staff wearing his GOP monkey suit that day. And what do you know? Craig did not get arrested. But in less than 5 minutes, someone that showed up for lunch but realized there's news going on here in the state capitol, he was smart enough to know it was time to turn on the working media sign. And he was here covering the events, similarly dressed in shorts and flip-flops because we thought we had a nice luncheon that day. We did not know what was coming. We did not do this as a stunt. We did not seek the permission of our originating radio station or our parents or our friends or family before we came down here. We were caught up in this, much like many of the spectators. And when I've asked what my crime was that day, what my violation was, I got no clear answer. I haven't gotten an answer from the Department of Administration. I haven't gotten an answer from the State Capitol Police. And certainly I did not get an answer from the arresting officers or the game warden who handed me my ticket. Now I'd like to introduce my friend Dominic, who was arrested in the State Capitol as working media.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thanks, Ron.
I wrote some notes because I'm not as eloquent as my friend Mike here.
Start with one. Who did you vote for in the recall election?
I voted for Scott Walker in the recall election. I was arrested by his administration performing my duties as working media. I'm going to take this opportunity to explain to my mother exactly what happened to me last week, describe our efforts to learn why I was arrested, and relay that response or lack thereof of this administration to everybody here. We started the show a year and a half ago during the recall election. People couldn't talk to each other. There was a lot of anger in the air. We've known each other 20 years. We were college roommates. We can have heated conversations and still love each other and have drinks afterwards. That's the kind of discourse we need in this state. So we wanted to bring that attitude to the airwaves. So that's what we did. As I've already stated, I voted for Walker. So this is not a political issue for me. So let me give the timeline here quickly. I came down here on the Wednesday, July 24th, to meet my buddy Crudy for lunch after he covered the Chris Taylor press conference about money and politics. I was running late. Michael said, you know what, this is me at the Capitol. Let's do a head count. Let's see how many Solidarity singers are there today. 12:44, I text Mike. I get Rockstar parking on Hamilton. Walking up. Now you can ask the NSA, they got all the data, but I'll just trust me on this one. About 12:46, I walk in, and just so happens Mike's in the same hallway. Now what are the chances of that, right? Of all the hallways here, I see Mike. I walk up, he's beside himself. I had no idea arrests were going on. I'm just walking up to meet Mike, get a head count, go to lunch. He's already arrested, so I had no idea that this was an event going on today. 12:48, I enter the rotunda. I wander over to the sign, take a picture of that, panoramic picture of the protesters. I sit with Michael and talk with a member of the state staff. At 12:53, 9 minutes after I left my parked car, I see police begin to enter the rotunda, and that's when I put up my audio app on my cell phone. Initially, I was asked to leave by Officer Feld when he stated I was at an unlawful event. I said, yeah, I just read the sign. He said, well, you gotta leave. I turned around to walk away in compliance, take 2 steps. I hear another officer say behind me, no, 95 of them. So there is audio, I have video, third-party video, proving I was not a participant in the protest, and in fact was performing the exact same duties as other media colleagues. Despite the fact I did not participate in the protest, despite my multiple statements to police and statements by others that I was a member of the media there to cover the protest, and despite the fact no other media members were detained, my arrest proceeded. As I was getting processed in the basement, I asked multiple officers, why am I getting arrested? No one would answer me, or they would claim ignorance. Finally, someone made the comment, you'll have your day in court. Yeah, I will. getting arrested for no permit as a non-participating media is unacceptable to me, not just as a daily broadcast radio host or member of the Milwaukee Press Club, but also as a citizen of the state of Wisconsin. My questions remain unanswered. What criteria were used to deem me in violation? What training do the officers have to determine if someone is a participating member of a protest or a non-participating member of the media? And under whose direction was I singled out for arrest? According to one officer I spoke to the following day, there is no training, there is no criteria. He's simply performing the chief's orders. Multiple calls to the Capitol Police and the Department of Administration have not been returned, which brings us here today. Elected officials are not imparted with the wisdom of the ages by the act of winning an election, a victory which is always given by a minority of the total eligible voters. It is up to the press to expose falsehoods and challenge misleading propaganda of these elected officials, which is what we try to do every single day on the show. Kurt and I have a saying on the show, and it's a paraphrase from the character Michael Corleone from The Godfather. It's never personal, it's politics. But when a government arrests working media minutes after entering the rotunda, after asked cooperation and compliance, it becomes personal. When a government ties them up, leads them away like cattle, confiscates and inspects their personal property, it becomes personal. When a government wrongfully charges them for breaking unjust laws and denies their liberty without a comment or redress, it becomes personal. Who are you, David Irwin? To detain the press without cause. Who are you, Mike Hipsch, to order the arrest of media without reasonable suspicion? Who are you, Scott Walker, to allow these willful abridgments of the First Amendment rights to occur in this building? To the Capitol Police officers, arresting officers Fell and Soley, even Officer Meathead Davis, we understand you are doing your job, executing your given orders. And far be it from us to determine for you the time to disobey unjust orders. This is something you have to decide for yourself. Alexis de Tocqueville said, servitude cannot be complete if the press is free. The press is the chief democratic instrument of freedom. Our freedom is not in jeopardy from an invading army. It is in jeopardy from the slow drip of soft tyranny flowing from a continuously growing and unresponsive government, an apathetic citizenry, and a fragmented press. I have the right to cover news events without fear of molestation from an oppressive government, regardless of their political party, and that is for the right which I am fighting for today. I'm Dom, that's Crew, we are the devil's advocates, we are media, and that's what we're here for today. Words of support from the ACLU. I don't know if she is here today as well. I have also retained the same attorney as Michael. We will fight this all the way. Thank you, guys.
Do you regret your vote?
I'm sorry?
Do you regret your vote?
Yes.